Welcome again to It Doesn't Take a Genius, conversation with introspective perspectives and pithy points of view. Here are your hosts, my friends, Max and Marty.
I think that's Mark and Mike.
Yeah, whatever.
Ramsey!
Marshall, I noticed your background, and it's a gigantic eye, and I just want you to know I'm here to be a willing pupil.
Oh, wink, wink. Stop it. No, yes, the eye, the all-seeing eye. Yes, this episode's on the Illuminati. No, that too conspiratorial in nature. So no, the topic for today is the power of observation.
Yeah.
And so
we have to sit before you ask your question to sort of prompt and get us off to the races. We have to point out you and I have been putting together some curriculum for some clients for 2022. We have some packages that we're offering some of our clients that roll out quite a few things where a lot of employees are going to get developed. And you, being the smart guy that you are, have rolled in observation as a key part of this. So we had been talking about this, and in the course of that, you had this great prompt of a question. So, okay, now that I've given the preamble, give us the question.
No, I like that. Yeah. We offer a lot of training. We offer a lot of coaching. We offer all these things. And one of the most powerful things that we offer is observation.
Right.
And it's always the antithesis of how I work. You know, I want to be like busy, talking. And
right.
Come to find out, sometimes if you just stand there and watch the thing,
yeah,
you will learn a lot, and your coaching, your feedback, your training will all be more on point. And so it gets us to the question as, you know, have you ever asked someone to do something, and then they went off and did it, and then you were completely startled, stunned, amazed, disappointed in the outcome of the thing that you asked them to do?
Yeah, I'm reminded of the Mike Birbiglia stand-up routine where he talks about, you know, going to a nightclub and he's very uncomfortable, and you know, there's always girls saying, you got to dance, come on onto the dance floor. And then he goes out on the dance floor and starts dancing, and they say, not like that. And that's sort of what we're talking about. Once you actually observe it, you know, the whatever expectations you had are now just facing reality, and you can see what's really going on because you're really seeing it happen.
Oh yeah, when you think about how communications is filtered through everybody's own personal lens.
Right.
Their lens is their life experience, their upbringing, their families, their work, all these, education, all these lenses, and nobody's lens is the same.
Right.
So when I say, hey, do this, right, it gets filtered and it ends up over here, and then the outcome is different. And so many things sound easy. Hey, why don't you go do a social media post on that? Hey, go write an article on that. Hey, why don't you go have a talk with that guy, see if you can, get him on the right path.
Right.
Well, there's about 1 million different ways to do all of those things.
Right.
And the problem is, in your head, the person asking, you already kind of have a vision for what this end result would look like.
Right.
And without a better explanation and the actual observation of at least the very first time you've asked him to do this, you have no idea what you're going to get.
Yeah, don't even have a baseline. The way I see it often is, there'll be a managers meeting, and somebody will say, how are we doing on initiative X? And the managers that theoretically own initiative X will say, so far so good. And what they mean by that is, I haven't observed anything at all, but no bad news has got to me. And you'll follow up behind and realize, oh man, the survey scores around that thing are awful, or the numbers are tanking, or what have you. But yeah, no bad news got to you yet. That's really what that meant. And so that's why, we've talked in the past about dashboards and scoreboards and so forth. The idea is to give an account of where we're at on those things that we say are important to us. Whether it's, pick your thing, the thing, the new thing that we're going to sell, and but we're not going to sell unless we ask people for the sale. Are we asking? It's a yes or no answer, but only if we've observed whether or not that's actually happening. So go make the observation so that we can give an account on that scoreboard, but you have to make the observation.
Oh yeah. For your example, are they asking? And then is it a quality ask?
Right.
So yeah, are they doing it? And are they doing it in a way that might be effective? I remember a manager's talking to the sales guy, and he says, I need you to make follow-up calls to your unsold or to your sold customers. And salesperson salutes, goes back to his desk. So I happen to be working near his desk, and I hear this. I hear, "Hello. Yes, Mrs. Johnson. Yeah, I'm making follow-up calls to sold customers." Like, no, hang up the phone. Put the phone down. It seems so simple in the leader's head.
Right.
Right. But the person who did this never did it before, and he was of a literal nature.
Right.
So I
right.
literally did what you literally told me to do.
Right.
And this is the outcome. So I have this rule, and any manager that's ever worked with me probably knows the rule. And my rule is, until you see someone do something, just assume that they can't. And that rule has saved me hundreds and hundreds of times. And every single time I violated my own rule, it came back to bite me. I assumed that they could do it, and lo and behold, it just didn't happen right.
Boy, that's a good one for me, really. I could use that rule in my life more often. So thank you for sharing that.
It works with somebody who has maybe 4 kids. Right. When you send the kids out, listen, go do this. Right. And then
I feel attacked, Mike. I feel attacked.
No, I didn't mean to make this coaching so personal.
Yeah.
But I just know that because I know me and my brother, when we were given instructions, sometimes we didn't carry them out to the way that our parents had imagined them being carried out. Just saying, I might have done that myself.
Right. Well, I will say another side to this. You're pointing out the advantage for somebody who's coaching somebody else or managing somebody else to go make observations of what's really going on. Another side of it is the act of observation itself is really powerful. So you and I have done this many times where we'll get people into, as we like to say in facilitation, triads, to get them into a triad. So for instance, maybe you're teaching coaching. Yeah, again, a little bit New World Order, a little bit Illuminati, but the triad is maybe if you're teaching coaching, training on coaching, you might have someone who's the coach and someone who's the coachee, and then an observer. And then you take turns being coach, coachee, and observer. Well, what's amazing is what the observer learns. The observer is noticing, maybe things that went well, things that didn't go well. But at the same time, what they're really learning is the context for the whole conversation, the big picture of what's happening, the dynamics of what goes on from when a question gets asked to how it's answered to what's reflected from the observation that the coachee made. It's really interesting to watch how the coachee and the coach, sure, they're learning things being put in the shoes of somebody going through coaching, but the observer is learning a whole different set of things that helps them when it's their turn to be a coach. But you wouldn't get that unless you were slowing down enough to put yourself in a position to just say, I'm just going to listen. I'm just going to observe. I'm going to see what happens here in this conversation.
Oh, no, you make a great point. And we do this in life. We'll, as the third wheel, we'll watch a couple interacting. And some things are perfectly obvious to the person observing that the two people interacting have no idea what's going on.
That is an excellent point.
Yeah, never.
Excellent point.
You know, so there's that opportunity. I think one of the cautions here is for the people who are being observed, you definitely want to lay out the ground rules. You know, you want to, this is why I'm here. This is what my contribution will be. And then one of the keys to make this as safe as possible for the say you want to observe how a manager coaches a team member. We want to let the team member know, get the team member's permission to observe the interaction. And then one of the things that you always want to do is you always want to let the person being observed go first in the debrief.
Yeah, great point.
So it's a great way to make it safe. So, and our debrief is the same one from all our coaching videos, right? So what did you do well? Let them speak. And then what would you do differently if you had to do it again?
Yeah.
And 99% of the time, they will come up with the majority of the stuff. And then your job is to simply reinforce the positive, reinforce the opportunities for improvement, and maybe add a little bit of nuanced thinking to that. And because they get to debrief themselves first, it doesn't feel like an attack. It doesn't feel like, I'm on the defensive, you know.
Right.
And most people are tougher on themselves than the observer could ever be on them. The interesting thing is, though, many people don't do this debrief themselves without the observer prompting it.
Yeah.
And so you get done with the conversation, you both walk away. Occasionally you might relive it in your head a little bit, but you don't get specific about what did you do well? What would you do differently if you had to do that one again?
Yeah, we're all busy, and you move on to the next thing and keep doing. And I think that another aspect of that is, if you have set the ground rules of what the observer is doing and why the observer is doing it, you also kind of prevent a little bit of the stage fright of going through being observed, or the, in a really bad situation, it might even sort of be seen as an existential threat, like this person's here to observe me, to evaluate whether or not I'm any good and can keep doing what I'm doing here. I could get fired if this messes up, and or my ego will suffer at the very least, right? But you set the ground rules. This person's an ally. The observer is here to be an ally, not to be the inspector general.
Oh yeah. If you're incredibly fortunate, maybe a few times in your life, somebody will come along and tell you the truth about yourself.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity to give some feedback about this one aspect of this person, interaction with others. And that's a very rare thing. I always tell people, I said, you will never experience you. You will never feel your presence when you walk into a room. You'll never see yourself. Know what it's like to stand next to you, and you will never hear your own voice. And when you do hear your own voice on recording, your first thought is, do I really sound like that?
Right.
Yeah, that's horrible. Can't believe that. And just proves the point that you don't really understand how your tone comes across. Everything that you know about yourself is based upon the cues that you've read from others. And if you're fortunate and can get someone to observe you and provide some feedback, and a trusted observer that you respect, then you have the opportunity to learn even more about yourself.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about a couple really practical things about setting some ground rules of what a person's doing, observing, setting some ground rules about how the debrief goes, letting them go first. What else would you throw in, Mike, as maybe some practical suggestions? And I'm sort of thinking about on the front end of just the literal moments of observation. You almost have this picture in your head of somebody with a furrowed brow and a clipboard, and sort of like and taking little notes. I think we're not really thinking of it that way, right?
No, I kind of think of it as a mystery shopper kind of thing. You know, the mystery shopper doesn't come in with their checklist. Took them 3.4 minutes to greet me.
Yeah, I got a stopwatch out.
Smile was not as big as it should have been. I'm going to give it a 7. You know, things like that. So to me, and I think both you and I have this ability to put people at ease. So putting people at ease, and I like to be far enough away that the body language, the tone, you know, try not to, you know, what gets observed changes, and I try to make that observation as discreet and as non-intrusive as I possibly can. And so, yeah, a lot of times I won't take notes if it's a longer session and I do take notes. I always tell people, listen, I'm going to write some stuff down because I'm old and I forget things. You know, just kind of make it light. You know, and then at the end, I will show them my notes. Right, here's everything I wrote down, and we can talk about that. So
that's great.
Complete transparency, that type of thing. But if it's a shorter session, then yeah, I won't take notes. I'll just be there as casually as I can.
I love that. Okay. Well, this is a short episode. It's a short topic, but this is really a one that it's quick to explain, but the impact that it has is so profound when it's injected into the system. So hopefully this podcast is something you can go back and listen to as you try to inject some observation into what you're doing with development of leaders in your organization. And Mike, obviously, I can't help myself but to say, if you'd like to hire somebody who has a leadership development curriculum that incorporates a lot of the principles we talked about here and the profoundness of it, may I say, you should reach out to Mike and Mark.
Oh, definitely.
Is that fair?
Definitely.
Is that fair? Am I being fair?
We got like 20 years of experience doing this. We're actually pretty good at it.
We're pretty good. Yeah.
We can help. So yeah. If you've had any thoughts along this, you reach out to us. Emails are in the description. Comment on the video below, and we'd be happy to talk.
Beautiful. All right. On that note, I would like to observe what's the latest thing that our lovely announcer has to say to us.
It's going to be painful.
So go ahead and tweet that, or share it any other way you want. As always, there are no rights reserved, no trademarks, no copyrights. Share it if you want to. And join us next time on It Doesn't Take a Genius.
That's good enough.